Well, I guess this will be the next game where I will spend like next 1,000 hours into. And well, if you like what I say, you will be there too as well. And yes, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at Dyson Sphere Program, the early access game all about the automation, just like Satisfactory and Factorio, but not quite. So let's discuss what this game actually is and whether it is worth to purchase or not. As always, I'm going to be giving you an answer right away to not waste a lot of your time. So is it worth it or not? Well, if you like Satisfactory and Factorio and played the crap ton out of it, then yes, this game is absolutely worth it. If not, it still might be worth it, but not for everyone. Is it a good game? Yes. Is it a great game? Not yet. So now let's just discuss the details of this game. So what is Dyson Sphere Program? Dyson Sphere Program is a factory automation game in early access. So that means that the game is actually not yet finished. However, the game is actually fully playable and plays like a charm. I have not seen such smooth gameplay for a while in games of this scopes and scale. To tell you how this game actually feels, this game is a weird mix and mashup of Satisfactory and Planetary Annihilation. If you don't know what Planetary Annihilation is basically a spiritual successor of Supreme Commander. And if you want to, well, short explanation of that, it's basically Supreme Commander in space. When you start a game, you basically choose a star cluster where you want to start a game, and basically you just choose between some random seeds, and you start the game in the star system. And you control basically a big giant robot, a mecha if you want. And your goal is basically to harvest planetary resources to, well, eventually move out into space and harvest the resources of other planets to eventually build a Dyson sphere and eventually to move into other star systems too. The large scope and scale is the key in this game. All the planets are, well, basically spherical objects which can be exploited in its entirety. And your main goal, or biggest goal, is basically to build a Dyson sphere. For the ones who doesn't know what Dyson sphere is well, theoretical at the moment megastructure that allows you to harvest the energy of an entire star. And it's pretty large undertaking, whether it's in the game or in reality. But how it plays, what's the gameplay loop, and what you will be doing? Well, what you will be doing is you will be basically building all the automations to harvest your resources, just like Satisfactory and just like a Factorio. You basically find the nodes of resources, will build around the nodes, then connect it with your conveyor belts, and well, refine these resources and build different materials. Then you spend the resources into a research of the newer tech and newer materials and newer upgrades abilities. And then with this upgraded abilities, you harvest more complex resources, build more complex basically things, and move on to the next tier and the next tier and to next tier, etc, 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 eventually to the goal of, well, Dyson sphere. This is a simple explanation of this game as it can get. It's not as complex as it might look. The game is pretty simple because, yeah, you are starting with very small limits, well, very small amount of resources and the buildings that you can build, and then expand slowly and gradually, just like Satisfactory or Factorio. But is it fun? And the answer is yes. I actually loved the game. I actually loved this gameplay loop, and it was pretty fun. However, I have some, well, pretty major gripe with that. You see, it's pretty understandable that your eventual goal is to build a Dyson sphere, or just to leave the planet, or just to move to another planet, or things like that. However, your day-to-day goals is, well, not as visible and understandable. You'd basically just build for the sake of building at the early stages of the game. Yes, eventually when you go to the later stages, yes, the scopes are increasing and you have more things to do to move between planets and just set up this interplanetary logistics and, well, eventually even interstellar logistics. But in the beginning and early levels of the game, well, you actually don't know exactly what you need to do. And let me explain what do I mean by that. In Satisfactory, you have development in tiers, and basically in order to move out to the next tier, you'll need to create X amount of certain resources or the certain materials or products. And basically your entire factory and everything on the planet, that everything in the environment you're in is working towards achieving these resources and getting these goals. And well, and when you go to the next tier, all the logistics and things you have built previously is still useful because you are using these resources to build even more complex resources in order to move on to the next achievements that you will need to get to the next tier. And it's pretty great leveling system and keeps you busy all the time and keeps your goal within the reach almost all the time. Here, you don't have anything like that. Majority of the resources and the buildings that you will be building in this game, yes, they're all useful. However, you will actually not find a lot of use of them until you will reach way later into the game. You might just think that you don't need these resources, but it turns out that when you get to the later stages, you actually need to have this base resource collection units in order to get to this higher tier products. And it's I don't know if I'm making any sense with this, but it's actually, well, a bit tedious and makes game a little more boring. Plus, there is a lack of challenge in the game. In Factorio, you will have a constant attack from the monsters. In Satisfactory, you don't fear a constant fear of monsters, but yes, the planetary fauna can do you some harm. You yourself, maybe not your buildings, but you yourself. You cannot just move and run everywhere right from the get-go. Plus, the environment is actually your enemy in Satisfactory as well, because you cannot go everywhere that you want in the beginning. Well, at least it's not that obvious. Well, here, your only, well, enemy is basically time. And by time, I mean that how long it will take you to reach your next goal, basically. Which basically is to, well, harvest energy from entire of the planet and just leave it entirely. That's the biggest and the most difficult thing to achieve. That's the biggest challenge that you have. And you're not even in a hurry. You can just wait as long as you want and harvest resources as slowly as you want. You are not in a hurry at all. And this lack of challenge, again, will make this game boring for some people. However, the developers actually promised to add the monsters and the challenges like that later in the game development. So yes, when this will happen, yeah, challenge will be there, but until then, well, it's not there just yet. So yes, game is good, game is fun, game is not great, but it's pretty close to there. But how much does it cost? Again, game is in early access and it's available on Steam for $19.99 for tier 1 countries and $10.49 for tier 2 countries, and can go as low as $15.99 for tier 1 countries and $8.39 for tier 2 countries. Now, the game did not have a pretty significant, very deep discounts, at least at the moment of the recording. Only the largest discount is, well, still at the moment of the recording, only 20% off. However, this game, if you like this type of games, will provide you a huge number of hours of gameplay that makes the price very great for such game. But now let's wrap this up and sum up everything from this game, whether it is worth it or not. Well, again, if you like Satisfactory and Factorio because of this complexity and amount of buildings that you can build and all this logistics that you can actually build up to solve these complex tasks and puzzles, then yes, this game is absolutely worth it for you. You will find a lot of enjoyment. It will be insanely fun for you. However, if you never played the games like that and you don't know whether you like it or not, I guess the Satisfactory and Factorio will be the better choices for you to start with, but you will still not be wrong if you start with this game. Just know that it's, well, not there yet. It is a great game. There is no game like that with this sheer scope, and the greatest thing is that the star cluster that you play on is actually part of an entire Milky Way galaxy, and you can actually open the Milky Way galaxy and see all the star clusters that people actually built in their Dyson spheres, and you can actually see the energy output of each and every star cluster with the name of the people who actually created in them, and it's actually an amazing thing to see. Whether it's worth it to buy for this price? Actually, yes. I actually rarely buy the base games, especially the early access games, even close to $10, and I bought this game for $8. I don't regret a single second of it. Would I pay the full price, $20 for this game? Actually, yes. Even for the full price, this game is absolutely worth it. I repeat, this game is even worth it for the full tier 1 price, which is $19.99. If you know and understand what you're getting yourself into. That's the important part. So overall verdict is this. This game is good. It's not great and not perfect, but for the price that developers are actually asking for this game, yeah, This game is absolutely worth it for any price that you want, especially if you'll find this game on a deeper discounts more than 20%. But even if it's not, well, it's still worth to buy. So this will be it for today. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of the factory building games? I know that a lot of my viewers enjoy Satisfactory a lot, but do you think the Dyson Sphere program will be as good as a game as Satisfactory is? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for being here with me. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. See ya.